how one lie turned a blessing into a curse. Let me take you back to ancient Israel, around 850 BC. There's this guy named Naaman.
Soldiers, forward! Chariots, advance!
But Naaman isn't just any guy. He's the commander of the entire Syrian army. We're talking about a 5-star general, a war hero, the right-hand man to the king of Syria. Decorated, respected, feared, wealthy beyond measure. But Naaman has a problem. A big problem. He has leprosy. Now, if you don't know what leprosy is, let me paint you a picture. Like, this isn't just a skin condition. Leprosy is a disease that eats you alive, slowly, painfully, publicly. Your skin develops white patches that spread. Your flesh literally rots off your bones. Your fingers and toes fall off. Your face becomes disfigured. And here's the worst part, it's contagious. In ancient times, if you had leprosy, you were an outcast. You were unclean. You had to live outside the city, away from your family, ringing a bell and shouting, "Unclean, unclean." So people would avoid you. But Naaman? He's too powerful to be kicked out. Too important. So he hides it as long as he can. He wears his military uniform, keeps his gloves on, maintains his authority. But inside, he's dying and he knows it. He's tried everything, every doctor in Syria, every physician, every remedy. Nothing works. He's running out of time. Now here's where it gets interesting. Naaman's wife has a young servant girl, a Jewish girl who was captured during one of Syria's raids on Israel. This girl has lost everything. Her home, her family, her freedom. She's now a slave in the house of the very general who probably destroyed her village. She has every reason to hate Naaman. Every reason to stay quiet and watch him suffer. But she doesn't. One day, she says to Naaman's wife, "I wish my master would go see the prophet in Samaria. He would heal him of his leprosy." Think about that. This young girl who owes Naaman nothing tells him about a prophet named Elisha who serves the God of Israel, a God who performs miracles. Naaman is desperate enough to try anything. So he goes to his king, and the king writes a letter to the king of Israel, basically saying, "Hey, I'm sending my general to you. Heal him." Naaman loads up a caravan with 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, 10 sets of expensive clothing. We're talking about millions of dollars in today's money. He's ready to pay whatever it takes. He shows up at the king of Israel's palace, and the king freaks out. He tears his clothes and says, "Am I God? How can I heal leprosy? Is Syria trying to pick a fight with me?" But then Elisha the prophet hears about it and sends a message. "Send him to me. Let him know there's a prophet in Israel." So Naaman rolls up to Elisha's house with his entire entourage, horses, chariots, soldiers, servants, the whole 9 yards. This is a man of importance. He expects a red carpet. He expects ceremony. And what does Elisha do? He doesn't even come outside. Instead, Elisha sends his servant, a guy named Gehazi, with a message. "Go wash yourself 7 times in the Jordan River and you'll be healed." That's it. No grand ceremony, no prayer, no laying on of hands. Just go take a bath in the river. Naaman is furious. He says, "Are you kidding me? I thought he would at least come out, wave his hand over me, call on his God and heal me. And the Jordan River? That dirty little stream? We have better rivers back in Damascus. This is insulting." He storms off in a rage. But his servants catch up to him and say something brilliant. "Sir, if the prophet had asked you to do something difficult, wouldn't you have done it? So why not just try this simple thing?" Naaman stops, takes a breath, and realizes they're right. So he goes down to the Jordan River. He steps into the water, dunks once, nothing. Twice, nothing. 3 times, 4 times, 5 times, 6 times, still nothing. By now his servants are probably thinking this is embarrassing. But then he goes under the 7th time, and when he comes up, his skin is completely healed. Not just better, it's like the skin of a young child. Smooth, perfect, brand new. The Bible says his flesh was restored like the flesh of a young boy. Naaman is losing his mind with joy. He rushes back to Elisha's house with his whole crew, and this time he's not angry. He's humbled, he's grateful, he's transformed. Naaman stands before Elisha and says, "Now I know there is no God in all the earth except in Israel. Please accept a gift from your servant." Remember, this man brought 750 pounds of silver, 150 pounds of gold, and designer clothes, a fortune. And Elisha says, "As surely as the Lord lives whom I serve, I will not accept anything." Naaman insists. He begs Elisha to take it. This is a man used to getting what he wants, and he wants to bless this prophet who gave him his life back. But Elisha refuses again. He will not take a single coin. Why? Because Elisha understood something crucial. This miracle wasn't for sale. God's grace cannot be purchased. If Elisha took payment, it would look like the healing was a transaction, like Naaman bought his miracle. But God heals freely. His mercy isn't merchandise. So Elisha sends Naaman away, healed, grateful, and blessed, without taking a single thing. Naaman eventually leaves, heading back to Syria with his wealth intact and his faith transformed. But someone else is watching, and he has very different plans. His name is Gehazi. Gehazi has been Elisha's servant for years. He's seen miracle after miracle. He's watched God provide again and again. He should know better. But as he watches Naaman's caravan disappear down the road, something dark stirs in his heart. My master was too easy on the Syrian. He should have taken what the man offered. Look at all that wealth just walking away. I'm going to go after him and get something. So Gehazi runs after Naaman. And when Naaman sees him coming, he stops his chariot and asks, "Is everything all right?" And here's where the lie begins. Gehazi says, "Everything is fine. But my master sent me to tell you that 2 young prophets just arrived, and he'd like to give them a talent of silver and 2 sets of clothing." Now, catch this. Elisha sent no such message. This is a complete fabrication. Gehazi is using his master's name to steal. Naaman, being the generous man he now is, says, "Please, take 2 talents of silver." He packages up 150 pounds of silver and 2 sets of expensive clothes, has his servants carry them, and sends Gehazi on his way. Gehazi takes the loot, dismisses Naaman's servants before they get to Elisha's house, hides everything, and then walks in casually like nothing happened. Elisha looks at Gehazi and asks, "Where have you been, Gehazi?" And Gehazi doubles down on the lie. "Your servant didn't go anywhere." But here's what Gehazi didn't know. God had already shown Elisha everything. Elisha says, "Was not my spirit with you when the man got down from his chariot to meet you? Is this the time to take money or to accept clothes, or olive groves and vineyards, or flocks and herds, or male and female slaves?" Translation: You think I don't know what you did? You sold a miracle. You used God's name to steal. You made it look like His grace has a price tag. And then comes the judgment that will haunt Gehazi forever. Naaman's leprosy will cling to you and to your descendants forever. Immediately, right then, leprosy breaks out on Gehazi's skin. The Bible says he walked out leprous, as white as snow. In one moment, Gehazi went from being the servant of a great prophet to being an outcast with an incurable disease that would plague his family for generations. Why? Because of greed, because of lies, because he treated God's grace like a business opportunity. So what can we learn from this devastating story? 1. Greed blinds you to what really matters. Gehazi had front row seats to the miraculous. He served one of the greatest prophets in history. He saw God work in powerful ways. But he was so focused on what he didn't have that he lost sight of the incredible privilege he already possessed. How many of us are like that today? We're surrounded by blessings, but consumed by comparison. We see what others have and think, why not me? We watch opportunities pass by others and think, I deserve that more than they do. Greed makes you think you're entitled to things that were never meant for you. Number 2, lies multiply. Notice how Gehazi's sin escalated. First, he justified it in his mind. My master was too easy on that Syrian. Then he acted on it, ran after Naaman. Then he lied to Naaman, invented a fake message from Elisha. Then he lied to Elisha, your servant didn't go anywhere. Then he hid the evidence. One compromise led to another. One lie demanded another to cover it up. Sin doesn't stay contained, it spreads like leprosy. 3. You can't sell what God gives freely. This is the heart of the issue. Elisha refused Naaman's payment because God's grace is not for sale. Healing, forgiveness, salvation, these are gifts. You can't earn them, you can't buy them, and you certainly can't resell them for profit. But Gehazi tried to monetize a miracle. He turned grace into a transaction, and in doing so, he corrupted the very message God was sending through that healing. Today, we still see this. People selling anointed prayer cloths, preachers promising blessings in exchange for donations, ministries that make you feel like you have to pay to access God's favor. That's not how God works. His grace is free, and anyone who tries to put a price on it will face consequences. 4. Consequences are real. Here's the hardest truth. Gehazi didn't just hurt himself. The Bible specifically says the leprosy would cling to his descendants forever. His children and grandchildren would carry the curse of his greed. Our choices affect more than just us. Your integrity, or lack of it, will impact your family, your children, and your legacy. What are you modeling for the next generation? Contentment or greed? Honesty or deception? Trust in God's provision or anxiety about getting what you think you deserve? 5. You can't hide from God. Gehazi thought he could get away with it. He hid the silver, dismissed the servants early, and lied to his master's face. But Elisha said, "Was not my spirit with you?" God sees everything. You might fool people, but you will never fool God. Proverbs 28:13 says, "Whoever conceals their sins does not prosper, but the one who confesses and renounces them finds mercy." Gehazi had a chance to come clean. Elisha asked him directly, "Where have you been?" That was an opportunity to confess, but Gehazi chose to lie, and that sealed his fate. Don't be Gehazi. Don't let greed convince you that you're entitled to blessings meant for others. Don't use your position, your relationships, or your reputation to lie and manipulate for personal gain. Don't treat God's grace like a commodity you can package, sell, or exploit. For what will it profit a man if he gains the whole world and forfeits his soul? Matthew 16, verse 26. The silver Gehazi stole couldn't cure the disease he inherited. And whatever you gain through deception will never be worth what you lose in the process. Don't let greed write your story.